15 minutes is near.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, Jody. Okay, so tell me about the members that make up your family. Who are they and what are their ages? And maybe tell me a little bit about them.
There would be myself. I'm 38. I'm a teacher or para. My husband is 40, and he delivers for Pepsi. I have twin sons that are 9.
Oh, I didn't realize they were twins.
And they are in 3rd grade. One is on the spectrum, autistic. The other has about 4 or 5 different diagnoses that stem from parts of autism to parts of ADHD, but so much of both that we can't do a full diagnosis. And then I have a 7-year-old daughter who is their biological sister that we adopted, and she is 7 and in 2nd grade. My twins were adopted too.
And were they adopted all at the same time?
No, just the boys came about 4 years ago, and their sister came about, last May actually.
Cool. Okay, so from what you just told me, I'm interested in hearing your opinions of the diagnoses that you receive about your children. Do you agree with them? Do you disagree with them? Do you feel like they're maybe not fully established yet? I mean, you kind of said that about your one son, but...
We, for the first 3 years that we had the boys, my autistic son, his name is Alex. We didn't know what the problem was. We were only ever told that they had fetal alcohol syndrome and that they were born with drugs in their system.
Okay.
And that goes for all 3 children.
Okay.
So we didn't know what was stemming or what was keeping the brain delays and things like that. We didn't know. In his quirks, our boys are completely polar opposite. One wanted to be Freddy Krueger for Halloween, and one wanted to be a kitten.
Oh.
So I mean, it's just polar opposites. So it is like having 3 definite single children because they are not twins in any way, shape, or form.
That's probably why I didn't think they were twins.
So, but he was diagnosed this past summer as autistic, and it answered a lot of questions for us. I can see everything in him now.
Sure.
And it's given me the chance to do some more research and have more patience. I used to think he would just do it to irritate me as a 9-year-old boy. But no, he's doing very, very well with everything. He has tested out of special education. He reads at a 5th grade level right now.
And he's 9?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
He's an extremely intelligent, book smart kid.
Mm-hmm.
Common sense is 0. But that's where him and his brother are opposites as well, because Alvin is my other son, and he just got diagnosed yesterday, actually, with all of the diagnoses that stem from separation anxiety, fetal alcohol syndrome, which we already knew, obsessive compulsive disorder, separation anxiety, what was the other one? Impulse control, things like that, which is spot on for him. He has a hard time in class.
Sure.
He wants the attention. He needs the attention. If there's a change, like he has a substitute teacher, all bets are off. He's going to have a bad day. Change is huge for him. He doesn't like it until he gets used to it. And then he's all right.
So Was Alex the one who dressed up like a kitten?
Yes. He is very, where most autistic kids act out in anger and aggression, Alex goes nonverbal and shuts down and just sits there.
Okay, interesting. And then, would you say Alvin, again, is the opposite?
Oh, yes.
Would
He's
externalize it?
very outspoken and would go to, like, the point where... I guess the only part of Alvin's diagnosis that I don't understand is his OCD.
Sure.
Because his room is trashed all the time. And then Alex's is everything has its spot. In fact, Alvin just got grounded the other day, and we took his toys and put them in Alex's room. And Alex came downstairs within 2 hours and said, "Mommy, I can't handle it." He said, "You've got to get the toys out of my room."
Mm. They all have their own rooms.
Yep.
That's nice.
So.
Okay. Tell me about your daughter. What's her name?
Isabella.
Isabella. That's right.
And she is a happy-go-lucky kid. She is daddy's girl.
Mm.
My husband is a bendy straw when it comes to her.
Mm.
I, on the other hand, know what that's like to be the youngest and the girl and daddy's girl. So I tend to look at her and be like, yeah, not so much.
You don't fall for it. How does she get along with her brothers?
It's hit and miss. I look at her and I see both of the boys in her, mostly Alvin. Her and Alvin go head to head all the time. In fact, the first time she ever stayed the night getting used to our house and meeting us and hanging out with the boys, because they didn't live together when they grew up. The boys lived in one place and she lived with another relative.
Okay.
But the boys were wrestling, and I'll never forget it. And Alvin said, "You can't wrestle with us, you're a girl." And she ran full bore across the room, which is probably about 30 feet. Our living room's pretty big. And she took him out by the waist, and he flew back 2 feet. And he landed on his butt, and he looked at me, "Mom, did you see what she did?" And I said, "Sure did." And I gave her a high five.
Yeah, I agree with
I
that.
was like, "You can't."
What do you know?
So.
Well, I'm the same way, I suppose. Okay, so tell me about, kind of switching gears, tell me about how you were interested, or when you first knew you wanted to adopt. Did you foster kids before? I'm assuming you were fostering them before you adopted them.
We did. My husband and I have been married 18 years, and we found out about 5 years in that we could not have kids of our own. We tried to adopt, and 2 months before the adoption was final, the mom changed her mind.
Oh my goodness.
So we tore down the nursery. We sold everything. I have a few stuffed animals that I kept just to torture myself with. And for the next however many years, we just didn't, it wasn't a possibility. It wasn't going to happen. We had no want to jump back into that boat. And then we moved to Devil's Lake about 8 years ago now and decided that maybe fostering would be the way to go because we had a lot of love and we had a 5-bedroom house. So we might as well do something good with it. And we started the process. We got all set up, but we went into it with knowing that it was foster to adopt because we didn't want to foster a child, fall in love with that child, and have to send them home. We wanted the possibility that if we loved that child, they could be ours. And our boys were actually our first placement.
Cool.
Bella was our second. So we knew Bella. We knew her because she was actually placed with a friend of ours in foster care. And so we knew her pretty well. And we decided that it was very important for us to keep the kids together. They have older siblings. They have younger siblings. Between mom and dad, there are 19 that we know of. So we try our best to keep tabs on everyone so that eventually down the road, when the kids have questions, and they know they were adopted, they know they have a mommy that grew them in their tummy, and they know that I'm the mommy that grew them in my heart. And they're okay with that.
That's nice. Okay. Did you use PATH as the fostering and adopting organization?
PATH was our fostering organization because the boys and Bella all had diagnosis, but more than that, they're a sibling group. So, and at the time that they came into foster care, they were under the age of 7, so they would have been placed with PATH anyways.
Okay.
But because they had that diagnosis, it was a special needs adoption, which went through Catholic Charities in Grand Forks.
Okay. I was employed through Catholic Charities. Where are you guys from before Devil's Lake?
Rugby.
Okay, so not too far.
No, just an hour.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'm from Minneapolis, and I've lived here for 3 years. But
oh my.
My husband's a pastor, and so his first call was to Devil's Lake. So it's a big change, but I'm familiar with the foster system and system of adopting, and I worked at a mental health behavioral facility before this, and so I also would like to eventually foster and adopt. I have a daughter who's 1, but I've always wanted to kind of take home the kids that I worked with, and I still have one in the place in my heart that like myself, that he's doing well. I keep kind of in contact with him. Okay, so you told me that you are in communication somewhat with your children's biological families. Do you know how their biological mom or dad are doing? I would assume that they're kind of not necessarily down the right path, just knowing the previous situation.
To be very honest, we've never met Dad.
Okay.
Dad continues to deny that he is the father of one of my twins, which if that was the case, he hit the genetic lottery. The courts laughed at him and, just terminated his rights, and he gave up his rights to Isabella right away. Mom, the only way that we can really tell where she's at or how she's doing is when we go and do background checks and see where she's currently incarcerated.
That's right. I remember you telling me. I know that we are going to finish up on our last couple minutes here before I have to read a new interview. I'm at 14. Okay, so then we'll stop it here. I'll ask you a couple more questions in a minute.